your fuel consumption is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy because this fuel consumption in here is, crazy. I just started going crazy. The lights doing this and the wipers going on. And at the time I was like, performing properly. You have to put your foot down. And that's one thing that bothers me because you have to squeeze a lot out. And that tire pressure warning is, what can I say? Sometimes it comes on, especially during winter, where so, over 3 years, huh? Over 3 years. But for this car on this channel, it's been 3 years. And if you've been with this channel long enough, you recognize this car because this is the car that started everything that we're doing on this channel. 3 years ago, at this particular point in time, I was preparing to upload the very first video, and it was an update on this particular car. Today we are sitting here with over 50,000 kilometers done. And it's been what, 3 years, 8 months, I think? Yeah, it's been 3 years and 8 months. So you'll forgive me, I'm on the side of the road and there are cars passing. I hope they're not making a lot of noise. But otherwise, I need to give you an update as to how this car has been, if there's any reason to regret it, or if you should even consider buying this car as a second hand today because you can't get a new one. Otherwise, welcome to the channel. I'm Sibua and I appreciate that you're here with me too. So the updates, let's go. So when it comes to the exterior, there hasn't been a lot that was done to the car because this is the standard Lux variant. When you're getting these Havals, it's either you get the lower spec or the top spec. At the time, this was the top spec and it came with all the stuff that you're seeing here. We didn't modify anything. Even from the dealership, we didn't get any extras whatsoever. This is how it came. And yeah, we didn't change anything in front. What we changed was the windscreen. There was a time when we were traveling, I think it was from Bronco Spruit, and a truck was passing and then a rock hit the windscreen and then it cracked and then it became a big crack. Then we changed it via the insurance, which we only paid the excess. That's all we paid basically. It was around 1.250 I think at the time. And when it comes to the side, there's absolutely nothing we changed. The tires are still the tires that came with the car. The brakes as well are still the brakes that came with the car. Even at 53,000 kilometers, I'm not finding them to be like, it doesn't necessarily shake or rattle or vibrate when we are braking. So I think they're still fine. I'll just check how far they, because I think on the service job thing they're putting the brakes and stuff. So when it comes to the rear, the only thing that we changed here, or we had a reason to change, was the rear light. One of the main lights in the rear was dead. If I remember very well, it was the left-hand side one. And what I did was to go to Haval to check the kind of a globe that is here before I opened there. Then I realized that to actually open this thing, you need a different screwdriver. And because of that, okay, it's in this panel. I can't open it right now. But when you open in here, you need that star. And the star screwdriver that we're talking about here is, I can't even explain it. It needs like, it has six teeth. Do we call them teeth? Yes, it has 6. And I didn't have it at the time. So I had to weigh my options. As much as I felt like they're killing me because they wanted 232 rands just to fix this thing plus labor. And I know this thing is like 20 bucks a globe, and then if you have the right like tools, you'll definitely just do it yourself. But I didn't have the tools, and I thought, you know, it's going to take me much more time. So I paid that 232 bucks. Yeah, it's still painful. As for the body panels and anything else on the car exterior wise, we never really had a reason to change or even claim for anything because we never had a scratch or like anything that bothers us to a point that we needed to claim from the insurance at this point. And the insurance on the car is around 1.5 per month. Some people are saying it's a lot. I don't know. I can't find a way to lower it for some reason. Been trying to lower it, but I can't. Jumping inside, you'll see that as well. we never had a reason to do anything to this car. I mean, it's still pretty much immaculate when it comes to the condition. Yes, it's a mommy car, and you will see that it has it's dirty, but it's not too bad today actually. I'm proud of the people, because my people can get a car dirty if they want. But when I'm looking at the leather in here, it's holding up quite well. I can't complain, especially because it's synthetic, and after a while you can find that some leathers are showing some cracks and so on, but when it comes to this one, still pretty much holding quite well. So I can't complain about anything in the interior. Coming to the front, I don't even think there was anything I need to complain about, because all the buttons are still doing their job, and I don't think there's any panels that are falling off so far, as you can see right now. And we do gravel road at some point. If we're traveling home to Limpopo and so on, we still do some gravel road, but at the same time it's still holding up quite well. I'm not finding a lot of rattles that are any different to when this car was actually new. So from that angle, I'm still pretty much impressed. Yeah, so I think we can go now and talk about every other thing. Let's turn off this aircon before we hit the road. So yeah, just a few things that I think you might be interested in is how is it holding up mechanically, right? Mechanically. Yeah, when it comes to the engine, obviously we didn't change anything. Why am I even talking about the engine? We didn't necessarily have to change much in the last 3 years. The only thing that we changed is the car battery. And the funny thing is that when the car battery, when it died, I was in the car at the time. So I was sitting in here, I was on my phone. It was early in the morning, early in the morning, around 12 a.m., just after 12 a.m. actually. And hey, the way it started, I was like, yo, I think there's a ghost or something around me right now, because I was at a parking, and then the park lights were on. Then it just started going crazy. The car just started going crazy. The lights doing this and the wipers going on. And at the time I was like, am I expecting to see something coming towards me? Because I'm in the dark and I don't even know what's happening right now. But I sat down a bit and I realized that it's the battery, because when I was trying to turn on the car again, it was doing the sound. It was not responding. Then tomorrow again, I tried to start it and it was doing the same thing. But the thing is, when this car dies, like the battery dies, it goes crazy. It does crazy things. The hooter will be doing beep, beep, the lights, the hazards, it's doing everything. It's like, you know, when there is a complete failure in ICT space, when a computer is failing and there's a virus, it's doing something like that. But otherwise, once we change the battery, it was not necessarily a big issue. I think we changed it for like what? It was, I think, 640 or something like that. And then that's about the only thing we changed that is major. Because taking this car to a service, so far it's still under the service plan. The next service that it's going to go to, which is 60,000 or next year, it's going to be the last one. Then I can probably tell you, if the car it's still going to be with us, I will probably tell you how much it costs to actually take this car to a service. Because so far we're not paying anything whatsoever. But then living with it daily, one thing that probably is not going to be best for you is the space, especially when it comes to the boot. The boot is pretty small, especially if you have a big family. It can be a little bit of a problem. But the interior space, the cabin space, is something that I enjoy. I can't complain about it. I'm not finding it to be bothersome in any way, because there's plenty of space. Even if you're traveling with a lot of adults, it's not something that you're going to struggle with. But put 5 adults in here and listen to this engine. All right, we're back now, and let me turn off the aircon, because one thing about this car is that when the aircon is on, I think it's cutting some power. So it's not the punchiest engine. Let me put my foot down. Okay. it's screaming, and that's the only time it gives you some bit of oomph. It never settles down. If you want to overtake a lot of cars, you can't feed in the power slowly and expect it to be like performing properly. You have to put your foot down, and that's one thing that bothers me, because you have to squeeze a lot out of this engine to actually find yourself like moving to a level where you can say, I'm a little bit confident, as much as it's not complete confidence, because for me this engine is not necessarily not the best out there. This 1.5, I don't want to say lazy per se, but yeah, maybe I should say lazy because it's not quick. And that's one thing probably that may bother you a bit when you're driving it, because you know, if now I want to pass this car, this truck in front of me, I have to plan ahead. Obviously there's a table leg that comes in, and then there's a matter of, if I see that there's a car that's coming in front, see how far that there's like a Hilux, and I feel like it's a little bit far, but right now I'm already anticipating that I'm not gonna make it. And that's the confidence that I have with the car. It's not quite high. And living with it every day, though, it's not necessarily going to bother you that much, because you know already what to expect. You're not getting a car that is like the highest performer. And when it comes to everything else surrounding the specs and everything, I'm still pretty much okay with it, because nothing that they said this car is offering is not working right now. I think the thing that bothers me sometimes is there's a tire pressure warning that happens now and then, and that tire pressure warning is, what can I say, sometimes it comes on, especially during winter, where maybe I think the sensors are misbehaving in some way. I don't know. That's one thing maybe that I can complain about. And I was impressed when that light went off, like it was damaged, whatever happened. There was a warning sign here that the light is not working at the back. I'm impressed. There's not a lot of cars that can give you that. I didn't expect that as well. And when it comes to living with it like this, especially because I've already mentioned that thing of aircon when I was picking up the car there. If you're going to put it like that, your fuel consumption is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, because this fuel consumption in here is, yeah, you know, it's showing 7.9 right now average, and I'm thinking there's no way, because this thing probably charges around 10 liters, especially if you're driving it every day. My wife is driving it every day, and she's doing about maybe 50 kilometers a day to and from work in this case, and she paused, I think after 2 weeks probably a tank is out, if she doesn't go anywhere over the weekend. But if she goes somewhere, I think 1.5 weeks, 55 liters will be gone. That's what, 1.2 or something like that. So when I'm thinking about how much it costs to be in this car, the service plan is free so far. The next one is the last one, the 60,000. From there, I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but the service plan so far is free. So we're talking insurance of around 1.4. We're talking, hey, that person. We're talking fuel of around 3.5 per month. Right now we're looking at installment, I think because the interest is quite high, installment is probably around 6,000 by now, because we got this car for 330, and I think it was prime -1. I'm honestly not 100% sure how much is the installment right now, because what we do is we check our risk level and profile when we're getting a car in this case, to say how much can it cost to actually fund this car monthly if interest was to go up by like 3 percentage points, and if it was to go down. So we're already covered in terms of that. We are risk averse like that. So for insurance purpose, for installment purposes, I would say it's around 6,000. So per month to actually live with this car, you are looking at around 10K to live with this car. And when I'm thinking about the value that this car has right now, when I'm looking at them, the ones that are around or just below 60,000, if you get the lowest one, you're gonna get it for around 280,000, and that's the one that is done below 60, and the ones above, maybe if you go to 100,000 kilometers, you're looking at a car of around maybe 230, 240. But I've seen one that is just below 60,000 as well, or 50,000 I think, but it's still selling for the same price that we got this car 3 and something years ago. And that's quite impressive because it's around 330 and we got this car for 330. So I'm asking myself, why are they selling it for that much? But I know that after we bought this car, actually the price went up. I think it was selling for 350 or 360, I think, because the demand was quite high at the time. But the Julian came afterwards and it changed everything for this car. And when I'm thinking about it in hindsight, if I was to say I want to buy something like this today, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure, especially with the existence of the Julian. Looking at the fact that I can also get the Tiggo 4 Pro. When I'm talking performance and I'm talking Tiggo 4 Pro, the Julian and this have got nothing on the Tiggo 4 Pro, because this is what, 105 kilowatts, 210 newton meters of torque, I think, if I remember very well, the same as the Julian. But in here, for me, it's quite heavy. This car is heavy, 1.6 tons, and you can feel it from this engine that it's a little bit heavy. Otherwise, if I was to buy today and I don't have 300,000, I would still go for this car, because when I'm thinking about the experiences that I had with this car and how much it's holding up in terms of the quality and everything else, I'm still pretty much impressed. So for someone who doesn't have 300,000 today to go and get an H2 that is going to cost you around 280,000, I don't think it's going to be the worst decision. But I can't confirm as well, because I don't know how much it's going to cost to actually service this car out of service plan. After the 60,000, maybe if the car is still here, I will do an update to tell you how much it costs to actually service this car. But for now, it's still free to service the car up to 60,000 kilometers. So the next service, like I said, it's going to tell us a lot afterwards. But when we took it to service, we never had a reason to change anything in this car. So far, mechanically, we didn't change anything. And that's probably one of the things that are pretty much impressive about it, because when we bought it, of course, a lot of people had doubts and some were worried whether the car is still going to exist after, what, this is almost 4 years now. I'll say this is 4 years. After 4 years, people were worried whether this car is still going to exist and so on. But yeah, it's still pretty much holding up well. I can't complain much about anything that they promised about this car. It's still giving you what they promised. I think the things that I'm complaining about are just, you know, the stuff that maybe I'm nitpicking, especially the price point that you're getting this car on, like the sound system that is coming with 4 speakers. It's definitely, I don't want to say crappy, but yeah, it's not for me. I'm an audiophile, so everything for me might be bad, but for some people, maybe it's okay. I would prefer just listening to a radio in a car like this. I wouldn't like playing the sound system, and that's one thing that's bothering me when I'm doing long distances. As comfortable as it is, I still need the proper sound system, especially on the road when I'm doing long distance. I find it, I'm not enjoying it. That's one of the reasons I don't like driving it on long distance, actually. But the new Havals, they've resolved that. I think the sound systems are better now. And for that reason, I think it's okay if you get a new Haval Julian, or you even go for the Tiggo 4 Pro if you have anything above 300,000, even if they're second hand of their demos. This one you can come to if maybe you don't have that kind of money. But otherwise, I'm still pretty much okay with the car. I don't think we're going to sell it anytime soon, because yeah, cars are quite expensive right now. And so far, having a car that is as complete as this, giving us what we are looking for, I don't think we're going to be selling it right now. So from that, I think that's it from me. That was just a short update of what the car has been, what can I say? How the car has been holding up. So yeah, with that said, thank you so much for being here with me today. Till next time, it might be something from Haval, it might be something from GWM that I'm going to bring on the channel, but we'll see about that. I'll probably communicate. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I really, really appreciate it. I am out.